want to talk about the recent action, or if you want to look for plays, or if you've just got general questions, anything related to price action, Fed, data, anything like that. If you guys have a question on it, we will do our absolute best to get an answer for you. Okay? How's everyone's night going? Roddy man, how you doing tonight? You make some money today?
Just a little.
Just a little. All right, all right. OBC Mookie, nice to see you in here. Nice of you to show up. How's your day been?
Hey, I'm doing all right.
Hey, nice of you to join us. All right, so we got enough people in here. We can get going. Who's got something they want to check out? Anyone want to talk about today's action? At some point during today's session, I want to talk about that short squeeze we saw in the second half of the day. That is a very repeatable phenomenon that is very easy to catch and very, very repeatable, like we said. So at some point, we will talk about ES and kind of what we're expecting from here. But for now, anyone got any general questions? Again, volatility is still very high, so we'll probably keep individual tickers to a minimum. So probably going to be focused primarily on questions today. Miguel, how you doing, man? Miguel, you got a mic? All right, no Miguel. Vince, I saw you unmuted. What's up, man?
Yo, what's good, Wax? How are you?
Doing good.
Okay, I just had a quick question. So, is should I be using VIX when I'm trading futures? I know that it's obviously more important when you're trading options, just because IV obviously affects options contracts, and futures kind of, I mean, it just doesn't. I guess I was just wondering, should I still use it and like still perform technical analysis on it at least, even if I'm not maybe, even if it doesn't affect futures contracts the same way that it does for options?
Yeah, it's a good question. So yes, you are correct in that VIX does measure the speculative value from SPX contracts. You got to remember they're all three the same thing, right? So because VIX is drawn from the valuation of SPX contracts, VIX absolutely has to do with ES if you're trading futures on ES. So
Right.
because like I trade only SPY and SPX, right? You know that. And I'm
Yes.
watching VIX extensively. So if you are trading ES futures, I would absolutely still pay attention to what VIX is doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
I mean, as of right now, we obviously saw VIX come all the way back into the 20 level, so that's a big check mark area, right? Typically, that's my level to say, okay, if VIX is above, there's volatility present. If VIX is below, action should be pretty slow and grindy. So right now we're coming right back into that 20 spot, and it's an area that we paid a lot of attention to on the way up. So if we are going to see some sell-off tomorrow, or some profit taking from today's rally, I very much expect it to be because VIX is bouncing from that 20 spot. Now, of course, that is just an indicator. It could be for a number of reasons, right? The reason market would be selling off is not because VIX bounced. In fact, it's inverse, right? VIX would likely be climbing because ES is selling off. But it is something that I'm very much watching here, right? It could be a sign that premiums have fallen off too quickly, or people have already aggressively flipped sides to being positively, positioned. Could be a number of different things, right? But yeah, this VIX 20 level, very important for tomorrow. It's going to be a key level for me watching that. All right, it's a good question. Miguel, I was just asking how your day has been. If you got any questions for us, if you want to type anything in the chat, go ahead. Yeah, if you guys don't have mics or don't want to talk, you can always tag me in the chat and I'll just read it out. All right, Miguel is typing. What's up, Huji? What's going on, Alex? Nice you guys to join us.
What's up, bro?
What's going on? Alex, what's going on? You got any questions for us? I saw you unmuted.
Hey man, nothing much.
Nothing much, just listening in today?
I just joined, yeah, I got to play today.
Sure, sounds good. Miguel says, I'm all ears today. I'm about to head to the gym, but I'm listening. No worries, no worries. So just a reminder, guys, it's totally fine if you just want to listen in, but these sessions are member-led. So the only thing I know I want to cover today is that short squeeze we saw near the end of the session. Other than that, it's member-led. So whatever you guys want to talk about, just shout it out, and we'll extensively cover it. S-Rock, Reds, either of you guys got anything?
No, man, I'm serious listening today.
Okay, no problem, man.
Hey, did you catch that play, Max?
Yes, we did catch that play in voice chat. You're talking about the short squeeze here.
Yeah, today. Green moves.
Yeah, that was a fun one. Um, yeah, we'll talk about that towards the end of the session. It was a very very catchable and repeatable setup, and during our one-on-one, you and I covered similar to why this move happened, right?
Yeah.
All
Is
right.
it like a falling wedge or something? I heard about pattern.
So I wouldn't really be focused on the pattern here. I mean, we can talk about it now if no one else has anything. Does anyone else have any questions? We can cover this now if you guys like.
I had a question. It was just like I guess more long-term investments, but it's up to you, Wax. Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, that can obviously wait until later. So while we've got everyone here, let's talk about this setup real quick. Okay, so we're gonna take off volume profile. It's not needed right now. We're gonna take off these moving averages. Not necessarily important for this. Okay, so we spent after a massive sell-off, right? The last 2-3 weeks, market's been selling off real aggressive. Okay, so off the bat, people are bearish. Okay, that should be a given, right? People are shorting the pops. You know, if we get too ahead of ourselves to the upside, it's rejected. People are continuously loading shorts, right? So let's note off some key areas here. Ignore these two levels down here. They're not super important. They are bigger picture levels. But what I want you guys to focus on is this zone I'm going to draw off right now, right? So from about 90 was the level because it used to be 56.40, right? So right about here. Okay, let's mark off that. Boom. So we've got a very established range here for a number of days. Okay, so everyone who's in shorts, right? Everyone gets in shorts, and you know they're whether they're shorting the top or anywhere in here, people are grabbing shorts. Okay, we get the breakdown, and everyone who's it goes both ways. People are shorting the top, people are longing the bottom. Right, 61. I mean, the contracts rolled over, so they're not the same levels that we were used to playing last week, right? They're the same exact levels, but they're 50 points higher now, right? So 61 here, right? 610 and 690, right? We've got about an 80-point range that people were very comfortable playing. You've got people shorting the top, and you've got people longing the bottom here, right? So this is the key level that everyone's focused on. On Thursday, we get a breakdown. Everyone who was previously in calls is likely stopped out and is switching sides. So you get everyone chasing in, FOMOing into shorts, especially when we break the previous low, right? A lot of people are getting overconfident in downside. They're willing to pay an arm and a leg for contracts they're chasing, okay? Now, what happens when we reclaim that level, right? All those people that chase shorts are using this 60 level as that kind of benchmark, as that area where, okay, this is where I'm risking against. This is what will tell me I'm wrong if we reclaim this. You can see the number of rejections into this 61 spot before reclaiming it, okay? So once we get back over this, a lot of people who chase shorts, this happened after hours, so we didn't get a lot of, real respect from the options holders, right? Believe it or not, markets move from option action a lot, right? So we reclaim 6100 after hours, all right? So when we reclaim it, guess what happens the next morning? As soon as the market opens, we get a big squeeze, right? Because everyone who chased shorts at the end of the day previously is now all of a sudden very red. Okay, so they liquidate, we get a short squeeze, and sure enough, we follow through. Where do we go? Right back to the previous top of the range. Okay, so now you got to think. Sure, people might have grabbed longs here, but you got to think everyone from the previous 3 or 4 days is still short. Everyone who shorted up here still has nothing to worry about, right? So this morning, once we cracked that level, That was that opening push. That opening push was the initial squeeze. Okay. Now everyone steps in right at that high we made off of the data high, right? This data high was from I believe it was CPI. Was it CPI last week? Yeah. So CPI data reaction high, very important spot. That's the first spot where we run into sellers. Okay. Now, because we've still been in an overwhelming, negative environment, right? That first spot, sellers are stepping in. But because we've put so many of those sellers underwater, you still get people piling in, right? We faded that high, but buyers were fighting it the whole way down. Every single pivot low we made, it was just barely lower, right? It was just barely lower, and buyers were wicking it and trying to get that continuation move. And look at the level we tapped right before we saw the squeeze. Okay? So, because bears were unable to get it back under that 690, that was their confirmation of, okay, I'm wrong, right? We are breaking out of the range, okay? And so sure enough, all we had to do after making this low was not make another lower low, and a squeeze was very likely, right? This was the last line in the sand for sellers to say, okay, if we don't get back under this, I'm wrong. Okay, so you got the impulse reaction, but breaking over those last pivot highs and making a higher high was the actual kicker, was the one that really liquidated all of them. Okay, so then you've got people chasing calls and liquidating shorts at the same time, right? So this is something that's very repeatable. It's not something that is a once in a lifetime opportunity. This happens all the time, right? You get these type of setups a couple, maybe 3 times a week, right? These type of liquidations and then follow throughs on either side, they happen very, very often, right? So this setup, again, we did catch this in voice chat. I posted a little bit of a profits post in Stock Talk. I had some contracts that went from $450 to $1,800, and I didn't even catch the high, right? I was fully out by like 30, 35-ish. By the time they hit high a day, those contracts were worth $4,000. Had I had the iron balls to hold on the whole way, it would have been like a 900% return, right? Hindsight's 2020, and it kicked my ass today, but we still caught the bulk of the move. But anyways, this was really just the sustained short squeeze and a failure for bulls or a failure for bears to recapture their zone, right? We had this test of 5,900 or 5,690 was the last spot the bears were able to capitalize and get us back into that bear mode, right? So if you're reading my outlook from tonight, I already posted it. I highlight this level. I said, so long as we're above this and VIX is still falling, bulls are in control, right? So long as we're above 5690, bulls are in control. Dips should be bought, right? We have effectively changed the trend, right? We're seeing a counter trend move here, okay? This goes for the rest of the week. So long as we're above 5690, dips should be bought, all right? Now, of course, since we're so far away from it, there's a bunch of other questions such as, are we going to make a higher low? What happens if we pivot overnight and make a lower high, right? There's a bunch of little intricacies, but for the bigger picture, dips should be bought so long as we're above 5690. Now, I have also said, VIX is coming into a very important level at 20, right? VIX is an area we fought extensively on the way up, right? We struggled with 20 for about 3 or 4 days before finally breaking through it and seeing the market really come down. But on that same token, it should be respected from the upside as well. Okay, so if we see VIX sustaining 20 and working on a bounce, and we fall back under 5690, in my opinion, that puts bears right back in control. So this is your flip level here, 5690 on ES. So long as we're above it, dips should be bought, right? Continue looking for upside. However, if we fail back under this and VIX is still above 20, you should not be trying calls anymore, right? At that point, we are looking for the lows to be retested. That's a long ways away, right? That's damn near 200 points. So, that's not something that's going to happen tomorrow or even Wednesday, right? FOMC can drive some big moves. I don't know if they'll get us all the way back down there in a flash, right? But this is your level. 56.90. So long as we're above it, bulls are in control. Okay? If you are a bull and you're looking for a sustained move higher, you want to see two things. The first one we've already laid out. You just want to see sustained strength over 690. You also want to see VIX fail under 20. You want to see VIX confidently break back under 20. Okay? So, that is pretty much all in one, a recap of today's trade, right? And on top of that, a little bit of an outlook for what to expect tomorrow. What happens on FOMC day? I can't tell you, right? Powell could come out and surprise us with a rate cut. I personally don't think that's going to happen, but shit, if we got a rate cut on Wednesday, market will certainly fly. Once again, I think there's like a 3% chance we get a rate cut. It's likely not happening, but in the odd case we do, you're going to see VIX crater and you're going to see markets fly. But Powell could still come out and say some things that are not so great, right? He could come out and say, yeah, this last inflation report, it was good, but there's still a lot of work that needs to be done, blah, 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 right? Somebody could ask some hard questions that he stutters and struggles to answer, right? There's a lot of things that can happen in FOMC that just create uncertainty and lack of confidence. But from a purely technical perspective, this is your level, 56.90. Above it, bullish. Below it, bearish. Simple as that. Does anyone have any questions on what we just talked about?
So, Wax, this 5747 has it, right?
5747? This guy up here.
Yes. So, yeah, if it breaks that, what is the next level to the upside?
Why do I have that? I mean, that was kind of just a respected area that I've had marked off for a while. I wouldn't use this as like a life or death level.
Okay.
Again, it's just an area that I've had marked off that it's gotten a bunch of respect previously, this area. It's nothing that I would say is like concrete. From here, I would say if we're gonna stay over 56.90, we should be able to look for 5800. 5800 got a lot of respect on the way down, right? We spent like 3 days holding there. And it's a big psych level, right? It's a big, nice, pretty whole number. They love those spots. I wouldn't be surprised if tomorrow, if the call wall is 5750 or something like that, because SPX is still 50 points lower after this contract roll. But once again, this is not like a make or break level. We could dip, and reject it, do a little dancing, right? I don't have anything. I don't hold a lot of value at this spot.
Okay.
In fact, I do need to change some things. I need to edit this one. 84. This is the big level. This guy. This is the big one, in my opinion. 585. 585, in my opinion, is where we should end up. Yeah, I think if we are going to rebound, this would be a good spot. This zone right here, this basically 585 up to 5900. I know it's a big zone. It's about 50 points, but that's the spot to me where you'd probably have the best risk reward trying to time a top. And again, it's a bad idea to try to time a top. You'd probably want to see like if we just rally over the next couple days and we jump straight into this area, this is the one spot where I'd be like, okay, we've gotten ahead of ourselves and we're at a major spot. This is where I'd maybe try to wait for some sell pressure and then try to, play counter trend. But right now, I would still be focused on upside. Once again, 56.90. That's it. Above 56.90, bulls in control, buy the dips, buy time. Buy time. Okay. Day to day, we're playing same day SPX. We could easily see downside tomorrow to go retest that 56.90, right? That's 40 points lower from here. We can still capitalize on short-term day trades. If you're looking to play out what I'm talking about and catch, a move, say from here up into this 5800 area, buy time, right? Buy a couple weeks. Don't expect it to happen tomorrow or extremely quick. Okay. Day to day, we're still playing same day SPX contracts. Of course, it should not be, every day's got to be bullish, right? Does that help out at all?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
A quick question. So
Yeah.
I'm assuming that the same kind of structure will apply to like SPY because they mirror, I guess, SPX and ES. Or am I
Yeah.
mistaken?
I mean, intraday, SPY and ES and SPX, they're all doing the exact same thing. But what's really interesting about the two, yeah, to answer your question quickly, yes. But I'm sure you've noticed SPY and ES tell very, very different stories if you're looking at them just on the daily, right? Just because ES is moving after hours, right? And the open that we just saw 2.5 hours ago is the open of that daily candle. Whereas SPY, you won't see the open candle until 6:30 tomorrow morning. So the difference is, yes, intraday and structurally they're doing the exact same things. If you're analyzing stuff on a daily time frame, they tell very different stories, right? Let me throw them next to each other real quick, and you can see. It can be a bit confusing, and that's why I prefer. ES, right? Because I get those overnight levels, and to me it's easier to analyze. But look at the 5 or 6 days here at lows, and look at how different they look, right? Look at the 12th, right? On the 12th, it looks like, we tested lows, got a big old bounce overnight, and then fell. But you can't see any of that test overnight. It looks like we basically just got a gap and dump, right?
Yeah.
So they look very, very different, right?
So you say like even if I was to be like focused on SPY, I should still use ES as kind of like a more wholesome, I guess, look at what's been happening with that
I mean,
particular.
I would just say do it how I do it. I mean, it's totally fine if you want to play SPY, if you want to play SPX, hell, if you want to trade ES futures. They're all doing intraday the same exact thing. But I prefer to look at ES because it gives you those overnight levels that you can use for ideas, to see where value is, all that fun stuff, right? They're all doing the exact same thing. Whether I play SPY versus SPX contracts, it's just preference based on how much the contracts are or what time of the day it is, right? So recently, I haven't really been doing it, but recently, because volatility's been so high, you've probably noticed SPX contracts are very expensive, right? And you have to play like $70 out of the money to get contracts less than $1,000 a piece. So if I saw a setup really early in the day, I might prefer to play SPY contracts instead because they're cheaper, I can get closer to the money and have greater scalability, right? And catch the same exact move. Just because contracts are cheaper, I prefer it. Whereas, end of the day, since SPX has a higher intrinsic value and going in the money will net a greater yield, I might switch to SPX. But that's the only real deviation, is just price per contract. Realistically, if you're doing analysis, it doesn't matter which of the three you want to play. I would suggest watching ES, the futures, for the sole reason that you get the after night or you get the after hours action, right? And seeing those levels will help you make trade decisions, right? Because if you're looking at SPY or you're looking at SPX, SPX doesn't move overnight. It doesn't even move pre-market, right? It just opens at 6:30 and closes at 1, and that's it. So you get so little information from looking at that chart compared to ES, where you've got overnight highs, you can see the data reaction high and low, right? All that stuff that is just more information, right? So whatever you want to trade is fine. I have no care in the world, and you can analyze ES and still make money playing any of the contracts, right? SPY, SPX, ES, doesn't matter. I'm not sure that was your question, but did I?
Yeah, no, that perfectly. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. What's going on, Ravioli? Nice of you to join us. You got anything you want to look at or ask?
Just trying to get into your channel for a little bit, trying to figure out where to start.
Sure. Any questions regarding that?
Not yet, man. I've been following your alerts for a little while on Wolves Den and on this channel for about a week or two.
Sure, man. Well, welcome in. I'm glad you could stop by. If you have anything at all, man, don't hesitate to shout it out. Okay?
I will, man. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Welcome in, by the way.
Yeah.
SJ, nice of you to join us. You got anything you want to check out? Once again, if you guys don't have mics, you can always tag me in chat. I'm keeping an eye on the voice chat here. Anyone? Anyone got anything they want to ask about?
Um, yeah, Wax.
Yeah, what's up, man?
Yeah, I guess I just wanted your thoughts on Trump's tariffs, like from an economic perspective. I just wanted to know what you thought about them.
What do I think about him?
Yeah, what do you think about them?
Oh man. Well, I'll be real. I don't necessarily think he plan I don't even think he really plans to use the tariffs. I mean, let's think about it here, right? So he threatens tariffs on Mexico, right? And at the begin, what was his running campaign, right? His running campaign was, we've got a fentanyl crisis, most of it coming
Right.
from over the border, blah blah blah, right? So what is his goal?
Right.
Primarily border control. Okay. Well,
Right.
the Mexico president, she hasn't really been on top of things. Okay, so what do? It's like a threat, right? We threaten tariffs on Mexico. They reach out, they come to an agreement, and all of a sudden, now Mexico sends a bunch of Border Patrol agents to their own border. And in the last month, we've seen a great decline in illegal crossings, right? And now, no more Mexico threats of tariffs, right? So, in my opinion, I don't really think he has any real intention of actually placing these tariffs. Some of them are legitimate, like India, for example. Those are ones that haven't really made the news a whole lot, but they've pretty much got like an anti-competition clause with the way they've enacted tariffs on the US. So those ones make sense. But in terms of, us trying to tariff both Mexico and Canada, in which we've had the free trade agreement for the last, you know, tens and tens of years, right? That seems out of the blue, but in my opinion, it's a bargaining tactic, right? It's like I don't want to say it's like a power trip or anything like that, but it's a way for him to leverage his way to get something that he wants, right? So do I think, he really wants to tariff Mexico? Not really. But I do think it was a way for him to get what he wanted to get done. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So just without getting too conspiracy, I mean, I've read some real big brain posts on Twitter over the last couple weeks. I mean, there's somebody who thinks, you know, tariffs are never going to they're never going to get enacted, and that this is all just a ploy so that we can get market volatility, which makes people lose confidence in the stock market, therefore buying bonds and treasury bills instead because they offer a guaranteed rate, and therefore using those T-bill funds to pay down our debt. So I've read some crazy theories and some wild conspiracies about it, in that he's really just trying to introduce volatility so that people lose faith in the stock market. And it's like, we're gonna need a whole lot more than minus 10% out of the S&P 500 for people to lose confidence in it. So again, there's a lot of speculation on the reasoning and such, but as of now, with nothing actually being set in place, um, the only way I can think about it is like a bargaining chip. You know what I mean?
Okay. Good to know.
So again, you ask me anything about monetary policy, I gotcha. Fiscal policy is a little bit more difficult because then you have to get inside the mind of the president.
Yeah.
Yeah, like just like the other speculation is that he's driving the stock market down so Powell will cut rates sooner because he wants rates lower.
Exactly.
Like just stuff like that. It's all just theory, I mean, what you think is in his brain, which
Yeah.
nobody knows. We're all guessing.
Exactly. So again, like I said, monetary policy, you can back it up with data, historical trends, the business cycle, everything like that, right? It's very logical. But fiscal policy, very, very difficult to peg, right?
Right.
A lot of the time it's just office centric, right? It's just whatever political party's in, they spend money on what they want to spend money on, right? So, but yeah, good question. Good question.
Right.
All right. Who's got something for us? Interesting topics today, guys. I like it. Talk about the VIX, talked about tariffs. Fun stuff. Jackie Layson, you're in here all the time. You're in there during the day. You're in here every night. I never hear you talk, man. What's up? Tell me how you feel. And you change your name quite often. I don't have a problem with it, but what's up? You got anything you want to ask? Man, he's not even typing. Yeah, Jackie, this guy, he's been a member of BullPrint for a long time. I've never heard his voice. He's in the voice chat throughout the day. He comes to the live streams, never asks any questions. He gets his money worth. He's here, but if you have a question, man, just shout it out. All right, Vince, you got another question for me? What's up?
Yeah. Can you take a look at CVS for me and just tell me what you think, just from technical analysis perspective?
Sure. CVS. I haven't looked at this chart in a while. What are they up to? Ooh, this looks decent. So, one thing from a fundamental standpoint I want to clarify is CVS operates in a lot of Walgreens, right? They, am I? Let me fact check that on myself real quick. But I'm pretty sure a lot of Walgreens are the ones who carry the CVS pharmacies. Am I right? No, I'm.
They acquired CVS years ago, but I don't know if they
Yeah,
like or something like that merged.
no, Walgreens is still publicly traded, I think. Yeah, wait. Walgreens was a public ticker. Yeah, WBA. WBA is Walgreens. They're still public. Yeah, they were trading today. So Walgreens, okay, they're separate entities. I just checked. I was about to talk out of my ass there. But basically, I know that both Walgreens and CVS have been struggling a lot and shutting down locations because of theft, right? And if you've visited a CVS recently, you can see that a lot of stuff is locked up and behind doors. And in the last 6 months, a lot of companies have tried this. Like Walmart, for example, has started putting a lot of like fences and like glass doors in front of their products, and they've actually found that it hurts sales, right? Because it doesn't feel good to be treated like a criminal when you just want to buy something. I think I was buying some bathroom products. I was buying some soap and shampoo from Walmart, and the lady unlocked it for me and said, "I'll carry these to the front for you." You know, so that aspect of things hurts sales. I understand it's to protect from theft, but at the end of the day, it still hurts sales. Now that's unrelated. It's just something that I want to observe, and Walgreens has been dealing with it for years now. But CVS, right? Last earnings was positive, got a nice juice. They're currently contesting that last pivot high. Um, you're in the middle of a pretty substantial liquidity gap here, so I like that they've been building value higher. Is there something you're looking to do with this? Are you looking to buy equity and hold for 10 years? Are you looking to trade it? What's the situation?
I mean, I guess a bit of both. I guess just like long term, also just maybe to swing. I don't know. It kind of looked like a good setup. I guess I just wanted your thoughts on it. But yeah, I mean, I didn't dive into it too quickly. I just took a quick look at it before I hopped in the chat. But yeah.
So let me do some quick math real quick, because if I'm looking at this correctly, it looks like their dividend yield is killer. So 0.67 times 4, $2.68 divided by 66.5. Yeah, they're paying a yield of like 4% at this price, dude. I mean, equity could be a good pickup, especially now after. I mean, obviously, you would have wanted it prior to that solid earnings. Now you're above value of the last 6 to 9 months here. But I mean, they're pretty suppressed, and CVS is one of those companies where, so long as they're selling, drugs and they're being supplied by insurance companies, they're gonna be fine. Right? I don't think CVS is really going anywhere. But um, as for a technical setup, if you are looking for like a short swing, you clear this pivot high, break out of this balance here. This can certainly work on a greater reversal effort. As for a target, I'm not really sure. I'm just kind of brief overview here. This is the area that kind of caught my eye. This is kind of an inflection point. I'll draw this line off real quick, but about this pivot low that we saw here at 72.5. Check how much respect that thing's gotten recently, right? Oh, not that. First bounce, held it, pivot high, gap here, support, gap low, pivot, bounce here, right? So this 72.5 area feels pretty good. Of course, you've already filled this earnings gap with this last pivot high, but you know, so long as you're generally getting back above 65 here and re-entering this previous balance, I think the doors are wide open to higher. You just got to get through this struggle area that we're working through now, right? So get through this pivot zone, and it opens the doors to 70 is a nice big check mark area. 70 is a nice big check mark area, big psych level, and then I'd be looking for 72.5 and then probably 75 from there. And if you're looking at contracts, that is of course a very big move. $10 on a stock that's $66. That's no small move. So if I was looking at this, I'd probably be looking for at least like 2 months out. Maybe like the 70 calls for May. If you want to play real safe, 70 calls for 70 calls for June. Those are some of the contracts I'd be looking at.
Right. Okay, sweet. And Lex, so how did you know that that them like sort of like putting glass doors on their products affected their sales? Like, where did you get that information from, and how do you like sort of like know about each of these companies? I mean, do you just like know that from like, I guess, from having done research, or is there like a specific? Do you have any like recommendations for like websites and stuff that you can?
Well, you see, I'm habitually online. Okay, so my Twitter feed. I've got two Twitters. One of my Twitters is for shits and giggles, and the other Twitter is my finance page. So on that finance page, every account I follow is either a news source, another trader, or the presidential page, shit like that, right? So companies and funds write reports on these companies, and so I follow a couple institutions that not they aren't necessarily writing short reports, but anytime a company or an industry as a whole makes a significant change, it's tracked, right? And they track data from that point onwards. So if you just look up, again, the article that I read happened to pop up on my feed, but I'm sure if you're looking around and you just search up something like, how have theft preventative measures affected sales, and then highlight the search via Walmart, CVS, blah blah blah. I'm sure you'll find a number of articles that have done the data, done the studies, and found that conclusion.
Right.
For me, it was just I was on Twitter, saw an interesting article from a fund that I follow, and they had done some DD. Again, it's not really a short report, but it's maybe like a short thesis, right? So like I said, Walmart was the report I believe I saw where they were like, theft preventative measures have been implemented in, X amount of stores since June of 2024. Here's how sales in those categories have done since those preventative measures were made, right? And it was a negative impact to sales, slowed growth,
Right.
right? Again,
Yeah. Also, you know what, Waxy? It's like they take 20 minutes. You press the button, they take 20 minutes to come open up the locked case.
Exactly. That was my experience too, right? I press the button, I'm sitting there waiting for him to come unlock it. 20 minutes later, I'm in a bad mood because I've wasted my time, right? It's like I'm much more likely to just go.
Lock up all our stuff, which doesn't make any sense. It's like, I want my aspirin. It's like $1.85. It's locked up. I gotta wait 20 minutes to get the aspirin. That's $1.83 that they're locking up, but then they gotta walk the aspirin up to the front so I don't steal it.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was saying. So
these are brainless, stupid people working in Walmart. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, so that's what we were talking about. Is I explained it to these guys earlier. That was my exact experience too. Was like, you're made to feel like a criminal when you just want to buy some shampoo or something. So.
The shampoo and the body wash. I mean, really?
Yeah, and so I mean, here's another real life person telling you about their negative experience. I mean, if you have to wait 20 minutes, you wait 5-10 minutes there, you're thinking, shit, I might as well just go, get the rest of my shopping list and head out. Well, at that point, you've probably forgotten about it, or you don't want to sit there waiting again and go through that same process. You don't end up buying it, right? So, again, these theft preventative measures have negatively impacted sales in all the stores that they've implemented them in, right? And so again, that's not a key driver for CVS. I know CVS is basically like a large gas station, the way they sell snacks and food and stuff like that, but their primary business model is, of course, their pharmacies, right? So, not something that would drive me away from buying the stock, but they also double as a retailer. So keep that in mind, right? It is.
They're a lot less locked up though, Waxy, than Walmart.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. I got a CVS by my house, man. I was like the whole alcohol section's locked up. I mean the snacks are still on demand, but like you're right. If you want like multivitamins or you want Band-Aids or anything like that, it's all locked up. They're all behind walls. You know?
Makeup, yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. Yeah, makeup. I was there with my girl the other day, and she wanted to grab some makeup thing, and we sat there and waited for 5 minutes. Granted, CVS was smaller than Walmart. The service was a little bit quicker, but still, it's not a good shopping experience. It doesn't make you want to stay in there longer.
Yeah. They treat you like criminals for sure. Can you look at Walmart really quick
Sure.
when you get a chance? Because it's really holding this level here.
Really holding my hand. It's already bounced.
Well, yeah, it's like beginning, but it held that level, that line that you have there. So I'm interested now to see if it'll turn around a little bit.
So, Walmart has been thriving recently. Walmart is unfortunately one of the companies that absolutely thrives with inflation. So think about it like this, right? Walmart is a retail that sells what we call consumer staples, things that people purchase regardless of the price, right? Think toilet paper, paper towels, t-shirts, whatever, right? You still need clothes, you still need toothpaste, you still need all that stuff, right? You're going to buy it regardless of how much the price goes up. The companies that get hit the hardest with inflation are discretionary goods, such as, say iPhones, right? I'm sure if you don't have an extra $1,600 sitting around and you're noticing all your other goods, all your necessities and price go up, your milk, your eggs, your toilet paper, all that, you have less, what's the word? Expendable income, right? You've got less expendable income. You're much less likely to purchase a new iPhone and wait another year, right, to upgrade, right? So companies that thrive in inflation are retailers, right, of consumer staples, because people are going to continue to purchase what they need regardless of price. So they jack up their prices, their margin gets better, they make more per dollar sale, right? So say inflation this year is 3%, right, which is pretty much spot on. Well, your toothpaste doesn't go up by 3%. Your toothpaste goes up by 5 or 6 or 7%, right? And that is a direct reflection of their margins as well, right? So this is a company that thrives during inflation, right? And so that's probably why they announced that their dividend is going to be increasing, right? For the first time in over a year, they've increased their dividend. That's obviously a very positive thing. Naturally, increases their intrinsic value, right? They got hit with the rest of the market, but at the end of the day, yeah, Walmart is, from a technical perspective, I don't really have anything here for you. I mean, they didn't really spend a whole lot of time at any one of these given prices. For me, this 90 area seems pretty important, right? On the way up, we spent a lot of.
But it's stop loss though for like if you were to buy. Where would you think it would go down? Would that line right there be the stop loss pretty much?
I mean, this is just a moving average. I wouldn't base a trade on a moving average, but
Not the 100?
yeah, this is the 200. 200's it's a decent area. It's definitely a spot where buyers will be present, but will it be a bottom or will it validate you stopping out of a play? Not necessarily. Um, uh, Again, from a technical perspective, there's not really a clean level that I would risk against here. I am looking at like, I don't know, this 81 area got a little bit of respect. 81.25 here if I want to mark that off. They spent a good bit of time there, but anywhere else, it doesn't really seem too confident. The only real concrete level I like on this is like this 90 spot right here, right? That's the only spot that I'm like, okay, well, if we can't get back above that, stay short, blah, blah,
What
blah.
was that other? Is that the 20?
This is the 50.
Oh, the 50.
Yeah. I mean, if you longed it yesterday, great. I would take a trim today and have your next target up at these pivot highs at 89 and then another one at 90. But other than that, that's about all the TA I can give you confidently. There's just not a lot of clean historical action at these prices. Um, yeah, I'm sorry, that's really all I got for you.
I always seem to want to buy December's or something like that, and then play higher numbers. I don't know why, but I just.
I don't think that's a bad idea. I mean, like
It's
what?
not.
Like maybe some 100 calls for like December?
Yeah, and they really. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad idea. I do think the market can come lower. I personally think we'll make another low across the general market before the low is in. So if you want, especially if you're buying that much time, you have time to wait and see. But after a day like today, where it rebounds like 2.5%, that's not the day where you want to start positioning longs, right? Especially if you're considering holding it for that long, right? You can afford to wait for a wick down or a red day,
Okay. Roxy, can you check the gold and I have another one, Nvidia.
I'll check out Nvidia for you, but I'll be honest with you. I'm about as, I don't really trade commodities that much. It's definitely not my realm. I wouldn't feel comfortable doing
Okay.
TA on gold for you.
No worries. Yeah, Nvidia is good. Nvidia and,
Nvidia.
and I have another one. The gold is not there.
So, Nvidia. Wow, look how Huji, check that out. We're about to see the first possibly ever death cross on Nvidia. The last time that happened, the last time we saw a death cross on Nvidia, let's look back historically here.
And also tell me what's a death cross.
So a death cross is when a shorter period, again, I've got a degree in finance, and I can tell you every single course I ever took that has any focus on technicals and chart reading, they always focus on moving averages. Okay, so the popular term is a 50 and a 200. Okay, so basically a death cross is where a longer period moving averages cross over the shorter period moving averages, and it typically signals a significant change in trend and lower prices to come. And then there's a golden cross. A golden cross is when the shorter period crosses above the longer period. And, here, let me color code these to make things a little bit easier. So we're going to change this from white to green. Okay. So check this out, right? Here's an example of, let me move this price off real quick. This is an example of a death cross, right? Your white is the 50 period. It's much more prone to aggressive moves and can be skewed by shorter time periods, right? So this is a 200. You can see it's a lot more slower, it's a little bit more wavy, whereas the shorter period is much more violent, right? It changes much easier because it's only tracking the last 50 days, right? Whereas the 200 is tracking the last 200 days. So here's a death cross, and it's where your shorter period crosses over the longer period. And you can see, what did NVIDIA do after this date, right? This was the day, so it was the 20, we were at 21.70, so about $22, right? When it crossed back over, Nvidia was at 16. Okay, so but we did see a low of 10. Nvidia got cut in half after this date. Okay, so Nvidia crossed over, you get the negative death cross. Nvidia saw minus 50% after that date, and by the time it crossed back over, Nvidia was at pretty much 19, right? So it was still red, but this is a golden cross where your shorter period crosses over. So check that out. Nvidia crossed over 19, right? We have not seen. We have not. Wait. Where are we just looking at it?
We were on the 19th.
Red Death Cross. Don't y'all we should buy a video between $18 and $28.
Yeah, yeah. Look at the Golden Cross. The Golden Cross gave you it at 19.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, come
Yeah,
on.
yeah. No, that's what I'm telling you. That's what I'm telling you. The Golden Cross is like a godsend. It's like, okay, trend is changing to the upside. It's time to be positive. I don't think since the Golden Cross, I don't think they've crossed over since. So if you were following this, you would have bought Nvidia at $19. Since then, it has not crossed over since. There has never been a sell signal on Nvidia since then. But right now, they're getting very close. It hasn't happened yet, but
Yeah, that is close.
it is close. They're only about a buck away from each other, it looks like. But that's what I'm saying. The last time Nvidia had a death cross, it dropped, like they crossed on 420, of course. And then it dropped 50% after, right? And then once it crossed over again to a golden cross, it's giving you 19. It hit 150, right? So it goes both ways. But I'm just saying, in every single course I've taken, I've got a degree in finance. In every single technical focused class I've taken, there is high focus on simple moving averages, right? And a death cross versus a golden cross. And again, I'm not trying to fearmonger here. I'm not telling you to sell your Nvidia shares. Hell, I hope it does come lower because I'm going to buy a whole lot more. But
You know, if they don't 33 and now you're still sitting up fucking. If you look at companies, you'll be all right.
yes, but short term, it's just a trend indicator. That's all people use it for. Again, if these cross over in the next couple weeks, am I telling you to short Nvidia or sell your Nvidia stock? Absolutely not. No. But it's
Oh, I'll probably short that shit.
yeah. Uzi, make up your mind.
No, I mean I would short it. Like, of course you're gonna short it,
Mhm.
but I'm not gonna sell my shares.
Yeah,
Exactly.
the option.
Exactly.
You're gonna
Yeah, that's
sell the option.
So
what I'm saying. Like, so I always tell people because I've owned Nvidia for a long time. All right, so I mean I've sat through 50% or more corrections since I've owned Nvidia. So that's what I'm saying. That's why I don't let that shit fear monger me out of positions or anything.
so
But it's good for trading. It's good for trading. Like, it's good for trading, no doubt.
So let's talk about another good one, AMD here, right? Check this out. So AMD
1 second before you go in the what was the your time frame on the weekly or daily? Or when you
Daily.
created the gold
daily,
Okay.
daily.
Thank you.
And again, this is Finance 101. I personally don't think I've ever placed a trade using a death or golden cross, but it is something to be mindful of larger time frames. Okay. So check out AMD here, right? You get your death cross. At the time it crossed, AMD closed the day at 120. Before they crossed back over, AMD was at 90, right? And it hit a low of 55. Okay, so this AMD once again got cut in half after a death cross. By the time it crossed over, right, the day it closed, we closed the day at 90. It crossed back over. AMD was at 145 on the day it crossed back over, right? But it hit a high of 227. Okay, so again, look at how far they are apart now. There is no sign of AMD changing trend anytime soon. But this is also when you get those real crazy discounts. Because look, AMD had long bottomed before you got that golden cross. Okay? AMD, it bounced from 55 up to 90 before you got that next golden cross. So this, again, I've been buying AMD. Those days those days it was under $100, I bought a lot of AMD. But if you're solely focused on golden and death crosses, you're going to miss those great entries. I'm just saying this is something to be mindful of, and I can show you countless other charts where a death cross or golden cross has marked a significant change in trend. Okay? Name a chart. JC, name a random chart. Name a ticker.
See, I trade using the moving averages, though. That's where I differ from Waxy. Like, I'll trade the 200-day moving average. Like, that Walmart trade, would try that up to 200-day just because I'm pretty confident you get a bounce there. I would definitely buy shares at 200 day because you outperform the market over time if you buy great companies at the 200 day. Even if they go under it, like AMD's under it, I started buying it at 200 day. I'm not worried to get back above.
The 200's rising.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like Walmart's still in a great uptrend, so that's what I mean. I would, if it comes down to 80, I would try and take a trade on that.
Yeah. You want to see the target?
So here's an example. Here's an example of the death cross not working. Check this out, right? Or actually, no, this was a golden cross. I'm sorry. Here's the death cross, right? They worked. Never mind. It definitely worked. On the day of the golden cross, they were around 140. Yeah, no, I was wrong. Sorry, I had it mixed up. Yeah, no, this death cross absolutely worked.
Just because the 200 day was so short because of the IPO being so close to there, so the 200 day didn't start till like right when it crossed.
Yeah. Real quick, just to prove this point home, JC, give me any random ticker. I'm talking a mega cap. Don't give me a penny stock or some fresh IPO. Give me any chart. Target. That's probably a good one. So
Yeah, but
so check this out. Ooh, we got some mix up here, but check that out. Death Cross, right? Death Cross, they were trading at about 220, let's say. Until when it crossed back over, it was at 160. Okay. Now here's a Golden Cross. Golden Cross hits at about 140, right? 137. Granted, this one's not great. It was only at 146, but in between that time, it went from 135, 136 to 180, right? And now it has since crossed over. The day it crossed over, it was down at 135. It's now at 105. Okay. So these death crosses and golden crosses, they are something to pay attention to. Again, if you're looking to pick up equity, the way that I would know you're getting a good deal is if the longer term moving average, right? Here's your 200, here's your 50, right? So we're in the death period right now. When you can find when these periods are very far away, the further away they are from each other, the better of a deal you're getting, right? And so I'll use AMD for this example. Check this out, right? Look at how far they are. This is the farthest they've ever been since we were overwhelmingly bullish back here, right? So the further your 200 is away from your 50 to the upside, the better of a deal you're getting, in my opinion, so long as it's a strong company overall, right? And this works both ways, right? When a company's overvalued, right? Look at how far they were.
I know it's a commodity, but look at gold. How far it is off the 200 day? Like it's way off the 200 day.
Yeah, so this could tell you, okay, gold is trading at a premium. Maybe I should be taking some profits, right?
Yeah.
So again, moving averages, they're not something I personally would place a trade off of, but they're a great tool for picking when you want to buy investments. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry I took up all our time talking about moving averages, but I'll give us another.
Super interesting. It's super interesting. I think that's valuable to you guys for long term, for sure.
Yes, absolutely. I'll give us another 10 minutes here since I know we took up a lot of time talking about that. Does anyone have any questions before we wrap up?
Yeah, I just want to see that NVIDIA chart. Like, what you see in the week or two type. Is it good setup for shorts? What do you see the good setup for the bonds?
I mean, it's already worked on such a strong bounce already. And I know just off my heart of hearts and how long I've been trading NVIDIA and how long it's been here. Your big volume shelf, you've got two. I'll throw up volume real quick just so we can see it visualized. But yeah, you've got, I gotta change the time frame. So, let's just do the last year. So check that out, right? You've already reclaimed your big volume shelf here, right? And you're already kind of pressing into the top area. I don't really see a short-term trade opportunity here. But I will say, dips under like 114, 115 area is where you're going to start to see those heavy buyers come in. Now, of course, that comes with a grain of salt. If market pivots and we start nuking 2% a day again, yeah, you probably don't want to just blindly buy it under 114. But if volatility is cooling down, which it is right now, and we do happen to see a sell day, This is an area where I think you've got good risk to reward. And again, this comes from a dated perspective, right? If you are grabbing a couple weeks of time, that feels good. For a day trade, you could see something like this where they show respect off of it, right? You get an impulse buy and they try to hold it for a couple days, and it kind of chips lower. But if you're looking to enter swings, your larger volume tapers, right around 110 to 115 here. That's the area where I'd be looking to buy dips from here.
Okay.
Again, this is, yeah, of course, but this is also assuming, like I said, I personally don't think the low is in. Don't take my word for it. I've been wrong in the past and I will be wrong many, many more times. I promise you. But I personally don't really believe the low is in. So if we do see markets see a sharp turnaround back to the downside, Nvidia can still make a lower low from here, right? We could see that 100 level tested, and frankly, if we do see that, don't worry about options. Just buy as much equity as you can. So
I
would even watch that down to like, what is it, like $93 where that
yeah,
fills that value gap at in that next shelf.
I
That's
agree.
where I bought it. It's the last time I bought it.
Yeah, anything
Yeah.
under $100 on Nvidia is a fucking steal. I hope we're offered it. To be honest, I'm gonna feed generations with my Nvidia equities. Okay, I have so much Nvidia equity, and I will keep buying it if they keep selling it off.
Oh yeah.
my long-term target for the buying range is a $97.
Yeah,
And
that's a
it's
great
not-
price. That's a
That's,
great price. If you
and I-
fill 97 and you wait a couple years, you'll be very happy with your equity.
Actually, the 97 should come with the. I'm with you. Market hasn't bottomed yet.
Yeah,
Don't
if
buy
market
it.
if market sees a new low, I'm sure we could crack it under 100. Yeah.
Yes. With you
But
there.
I want to talk about
Thank you.
this real quick. AMD is a little lagging behind in the AI sector, but
Just might have to be patient. Might
yeah,
put in an intermediate low, but yeah, I don't think the lows are in either.
yeah. But AMD, folks, you should have been buying it all last week. And again, if the low's not in, you'll get another opportunity. But AMD is one of those stocks where I'm going to be honest, we might make a new low, but I don't think we're ever going to see this. Once this bounces, I don't think we're ever going to see these prices again.
No, AMD reminds me of Meta in 2022. Man, you got to buy it when it's ugly.
It's
Yep.
ugly.
Yep.
It's down 60 something percent from highs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like this is one of those companies, dude, where it's like you gotta love it when everyone else hates it. And right now, AMD is the one. AMD and TTD are the companies that everyone hates right now, right?
I
Every
love them.
yeah.
TDD about the squeeze, man. I'm long as hell. That shit. I'm ready for it.
Oh, you're
Just
looking,
sorta-
and check that out. Look at what we just got on AMD.
Yeah.
Look at what
That's
ju-
cheating. Yeah.
yeah, look what just happened. But hey, check this out too, right? You get your golden cross, right? Shorter period overcomes. TTU is trading at 87 about when it crossed. It hit a high of 141, right? We crossed now. TTU was at say about what was that price? About 67 bucks. Here we are, down another 15% since then, right?
Yeah.
So hey, these golden crosses and death crosses, folks, would not base a short-term trade off of them. But if you're looking at leaps, this is a good way to approach leaps.
I had at that for both of the AMD and TDD. One used for T26.
Yeah, I love them both. If you're looking at investments, these are two of my favorite. Dollar for dollar, these are some of the cheapest stocks in the market right now. I own a whole lot of TTD and a whole lot of AMD. Have I enjoyed it this past year? Nope, not in the slightest. But I will. Mark my word, I will enjoy it. All right, folks, this was a fun session. I hope you guys got something of value from it. We're going to wrap up here. Once again, all of these sessions are recorded and posted on our YouTube page. We talk about a bunch of new stuff every week. So if you want to, for those newer guys in here, if you want to check them out, go give them a watch. This session should be uploaded in about an hour. So always watch those videos if you miss them. refer back to me with questions. And yeah, on that note, I hope you guys have a great rest of your night, and let's kill it the rest of the week. Okay?
Thank you, Marcy. You and MJ. Thank you.
Oh yeah, you guys have a good night. I'm out of here.
Right.
Very good.